Good evening and welcome to VI Voices. I'm Emil Henderson III along with Clint Ferris, Boyd McFarland, and Yoki Hanley. Tonight we're going to be doing some hot topics on issues that have been going on within the community. As you know, the governor-elect, Mapp, has named his senior executive team on Friday with a press conference and has called for resignations of all commissioners, assistant commissioners, and deputy commissioners, and has named his transition team, and so they're transitioning. We know that there has been a request for a recount by Senator Hansen and two other senators, and the Board of Elections has kind of cut off the public from viewing. But yesterday, Judge Willax ruled that they cannot continue the counting until they provide for public access to view the recount process. So it seems the Superior Court finally got something right. So we'll be talking about this now. Let's start with that issue. The issue of the fact that the recount is going to be quite an issue. First, I'm not even sure that there'll be enough votes for her to get to even win. Correct. So I'm not even sure why they're wasting money, but to do this recount. But you know what? I'm not sure what is up with Leonardo Belardo O'Neill. But when we interviewed her,
I wasn't here when you interviewed her.
No. When we were at Reminisce, when they ran in 2010, 12, when they ran in 2012. Yes. And they talked about coming to bring integrity to the board, and Roland Molinar, they all ran together. Yes. Integrity to the board and all these different things. And they've gone in there, and it's like they have just simply fell in line with that Rogue 4 or Rogue 3 that was there before they got there, which is Ross, Williams, and Moorhead. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just fell in line.
But I think you omitted one part of when you were introducing the story in terms of Senator Rivera.
Oh yes, she actually wrote to the Attorney General to talk about, you need to intervene with this issue about, I don't think she filed anything yet, but she did the letter to him. And I don't think that she filed anything because the Daily News had already filed something.
Okay.
She filed something.
Yes, she filed something in court.
Oh, okay, I missed that.
To put a restraining order on the recount, claiming that Senator Hansen is not a candidate, so she can't demand.
When did that happen?
Sometime today.
Today. Okay. I was talking, seriously, because on Friday, the Daily News filed for a TRO to start the recounting because they weren't allowed to access there. And on Monday, they had the hearing before Judge Willax. And Judge Willax then ruled that they had to have public access for the recounts. And so they had to stop it until. So then today she must have filed something today.
I don't know if she did today, but I think they granted her the TRO because of the senator not being a candidate.
Yes.
Yeah. I was in meetings all day today, so I missed.
But then Senator Hansen also know, you know how she is. If you are against something that she's against you.
Right.
So she came out rather loudly.
Against who?
Against Senator Rivera.
Please. Okay.
But which doesn't really mean anything.
Senator Nelly Rivera has a right to file what she wants. Correct. Just like how she had a right, just like how Hansen had a right to go hop into court here, there, and every damn where. Correct. So she could look at what she wants and go call the governor to the governor give her pardons and all this ignorance. Right. Then everybody has a right. The courts are there for people to use.
She was actually kind of scared and I kind of wait till she got to be afraid of and I kind of.
But then isn't Chucky the same one that wants every single version of her name to count?
Yeah, which in and of itself is ridiculous.
It's against the code.
The whole, the entire thing is ridiculous if you stop and think about it. The fact that she's not a candidate, and the law states that if you're not a candidate, you cannot be granted a recount. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that the distance between her and Senator Ray,
2,700 votes.
The board had no reason to even entertain it.
Yeah, but those are her friends.
Correct.
And so
yes, and that's the challenge we face, right?
But before I started, I wanted to congratulate you publicly for your appointment.
Thank you very much,
Attorney Henderson.
Yes. So what did he do? What was he appointed to?
For being appointed
Chief Legal Counsel to Government House.
Chief, that sounds like a very big title.
I think it is actually. I think it's equivalent to being White House Counsel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Government House Counsel.
Power broker.
Government House Counsel. Yeah.
Is it higher than the Attorney General?
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow.
Although what I will say is, there's been major expressions of love and happiness from everybody, and I truly appreciate it. I really, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate it. I ask for everybody to continue to pray for me because evil doesn't sleep. and they don't get tired. And so it's not going to be an easy job. But I think there were some people, I went to a funeral yesterday, and the people who were very happy for me, but they were like, but we really wanted you to be Attorney General. And I had to kind of explain to them, well, here's the difference between the two and why you would want me in the position I'm in now as opposed to the Attorney General's position. Because this position really helps to shape policy for the territory. And I work directly with the governor, and I help him to be able to decide on where the trajectory of the Virginia should go, and to keep him in line when things may go out or out of whack. And so in essence, what I have, my responsibilities, which is huge, primarily deals with the issues regarding all bills that come to Government House, whether they should be vetoed or not vetoed. All contracts for the government, I have to review and do negotiations with the governor in anything that's coming in for purposes of the government being involved. Vetting of all members, all individuals who will be nominated to boards and commissions, as well as those who will be appointed to cabinet positions and to the judiciary, must first go to the legal counsel's office first and be vetted and go through before the governor decides on whom they should appoint here, there, or everywhere. I have to prepare legislation for the governor. We don't have to wait for the Senate to do any. We can prepare legislation on our own and submit it down to the legislature. We also have a right to call special sessions to specifically deal with any bills that would have to be done. All executive orders go to my office to determine whether or not to execute them or to pull them away that was there before. One thing that's really important that I am also required to do is to set the ethics policy. And so I get to draft all the ethics rules for the executive branch, because that's all we can actually do, because there's no legislation for ethics really. Right. But the executive branch, he would then enter as an executive order, and then I then monitor the ethics of all the government executive branch employees to make sure they're complying with that. And I have oversight over all departments and agencies, meaning the general counsels who are assigned to them, and I monitor all litigation that the government is involved in. So it's a lot of work.
It is.
Wow. It's a lot of work. So you would want me there.
And we're glad to have you there.
Being over
General.
at the Attorney General, where my job is really just to prosecute and protect the state. Here, the territory. Here, my job is to really protect the governor and the government in that area, and in essence, to protect the people of the Virgin Islands. So, it's a fun job. I'm the first Crucian to be Chief Legal Counsel to Government House.
Wow.
It's only been people from St. Thomas.
The youngest.
I think I'm the youngest, right? Yeah, I think so. And it's only been in St. Thomas. The office has only been in St. Thomas. One thing I said to him is I was not moving to St. Thomas. So I have an office on St. Croix, a staff on St. Croix, an office in St. Thomas, and a staff in St. Thomas. And I just have to kind of go back and forth.
Hey, that I have a staff.
I do.
I like that.
I do.
But,
So let me ask
he is
you one
big.
question. Since we have seen where this administration has had the Attorney General be the negotiator for contracts, how now we can assume that under this new administration that will no longer happen?
Well, correct. Correct. It will not.
Okay.
And it should never have been that way, because remember, the Attorney General is supposed to receive the contract when it's done, to review it for legal sufficiency. And the Attorney General should be able to say, well, no, the law doesn't allow this or this or this or this, so I can't approve that. And if he doesn't grant it, or she doesn't grant for legal sufficiency, you really can't go forward until that happens. Well, if the Attorney General is negotiating it, why is he going to say that it's not for legal sufficiency? And so that's why you have to have a distinction between the two offices. And so, yes, I don't foresee the Attorney General being involved in the actual negotiations of the contracts that involve the government.
Would that be something you would be involved in?
That's what I would have to. Right.
Okay.
Right.
Has he named the Attorney General?
No. Not as yet.
Well, you have people saying it's going to be his candidate, his opponent,
but hold on.
Judge.
I've heard that.
The Chief Legal Counsel will know first, because that person will
I would know first. But
that person will go through his office, he will vet them, and then he will.
So then we should say, wink if it's yes.
We will make sure we still have his number in our phone.
What I can tell you is, if you look at the appointments he's made so far, that should be indicative of the caliber of people that you're going to see in the administration.
It's going to be a good person.
Notice that every person that you saw there are all people who are qualified in the expertise in the area he placed them. So it's not it's not like I'm going to be the Commissioner of Agriculture. I don't know nothing about farming, but our administration will just put people there because you're my friend. Okay, you go over here and do that. You go over and do that. That's not what you're seeing. Every person he's named so far has an expertise in the area. You have Dr. Simon Jones Hendrickson, who is a senior financial policy advisor. Mm-hmm. He's like the top economist in the Caribbean. Mm-hmm. That's where he went. You know what I'm saying?
Makes sense.
You have Kim Jones, who's a commission director. She's been involved in public relations for years. Has been in the radio, different things like that. Where did she go? Communications director. Joanne Malloy is a senior policy advisor, but that woman has a wealth of knowledge that almost no other government employee has. This is her fourth transition team that she's done, from Farrelly to Schneider to Turnbull and now this one. She's the one that single-handedly turned around the Department of Human Services to the point that Human Services were getting all of these accolades and awards that were national. Now, I don't know what happened to y'all now, but she is the one that turned that entire department around. And so when you look at his appointments, you see the fact that he is placing people in their area of expertise.
Correct.
And you can expect that as he makes more, those are kinds of people. In addition, look at the people, most people he put there, none of us have to be in government service if we don't want to. True. And what you've had before is a lot of people going into government service for all the wrong reasons. None of these people have to be there. They could stay exactly where they are in the private world and make a mint, have a blast, do whatever they want, but they want to give themselves to public service, and that's why they're there.
So they're actually bringing back the public service.
Correct.
The servitude.
Correct.
As they should to the people.
Correct.
Rather than those, as I said, for the past 8 years, we've been watching at like the Hollywood type of government.
People just doing things just to do it.
Hollywood type of government.
Yeah, man, Hollywood, yeah, man.
People just doing things to do it.
Man.
But, you know,
You gonna tell me
I
no?
would call it Hollywood.
We gonna call
That's
it.
a bunch of symbol and not substance. That's
Hollywood.
what was going on. Hollywood,
Hollywood.
exactly.
Okay,
It
good.
was empty.
Exactly, Hollywood.
well,
Yeah, look good.
there is
That's
substance
it.
to what you've seen so far, and that's going to be the caliber of people you're going to see
And
coming through.
but you see, and one of the things I would not do, and I'd say I like what you said, Emil, because you said he's looking for people with expertise in their area. And if you think about this outgoing administration, one of the things that that governor has done, he wasn't putting people with expertise in those areas and with strengths in those areas. And that's what I will continue to say. They were good. They were good, but they were in the wrong place. He didn't put them in the right fit. And then there are times that then he knew he wanted them, some of them wanted to move, but then somehow he kept them and didn't put them to another place that he knew that they had that strength for other intelligence for.
So that shows you that there was a complete lack
of
any kind of caring.
Lack of leadership. And it came down, think about it, and John DeYoung is the governor. Governor DeYoung is the governor. He placed people in those places. He has the ultimate decision to say who goes where. And some of these people did not do what they're supposed to do, didn't live up to the position that they were supposed to be in. But he kept them there. I don't know why, but they remained there. And they did not remain there just for 2 years, now 4 years. Some of them have been there for 8 years.
Because he was apathetic to the plights of the people. He showed no empathy. I can't see that as a lack of leadership. He knew where he was leading the territory. And as far as I'm concerned, he led it exactly to where he wanted it to be.
Look.
So it's not a lack of leadership. It is apathy. He was showing to us that he just plain out don't care. Because where he should have moved, he did not. It was not like he was wavering or quavering. That's why I may say it's a lack of leadership. He showed no wavering for any of his decisions. And he ruled for the whole 8 years strictly from the bully pulpit. Again, apathy, not no lack of leadership or anything. He hated the territory for whatever reason. You understand? I'm calling it like I see. He hated the territory. I still waited to see how we're gonna get back to $500 million dollars.
Million.
No?
For what?
For the Korean countertops and the guardhouse and all of that. There.
$500,000.
Million.
Okay, $500,000. I thought it was more than that. At any rate, but how are we going to get back that money? You know, as far as I'm concerned, that needs to now be put as part of the
The indictment?
No. For we the people now to go up and hold our functions there and so forth from now
So that
on.
should be our house, you're trying to say?
Yes, sir.
No, but I'm saying, I'm not going to belabor it, but I'm going to say, okay. Yes, government, I think apathy could be a part of the bad leadership. That could be a direct product of it. But Governor DeYoung basically did not come in with a plan. He did not, even while he was there for the past 8 years, he did not see a plan. Because if we had a plan, you would not see the Diageo deal haphazardly placed. We scurry to put a Diageo deal together, now the ABR deal. We have been very reactionary. This administration has been very reactionary. They have not been ahead of the curve. They have not, let me give you a good example. Tourism. Everybody praise this tourism commissioner. But this tourism commissioner, what she has done good is hold serve. She continued to hold serve with the tourism industry. But I've not seen a growth in capacity. I've not seen anything new in the St. Croix industry. I have not seen any new programs to bring in grant monies, or maybe monies that way we do. We give you 50% and you match 50, and we help you to develop your tourism destination, or help you to develop your small business, so you can be a complement to the tourism product. Those were missing out of this administration. Innovation was missing, and that's where I say the plan was never there for Governor DeYoung. He wanted to run, maybe because his ego drove him to run in 2006. He won, and he kept playing catch up.
Well, you
And
know,
at each and every turn.
you're being
You realize-
kind. You're being kind.
Well,
Because
he-
I said
well,
he
no,
had a
but
plan
he-
to destroy, and he
Yeah, I
succeeded.
don't necessarily think that he had a plan to destroy. He had a plan for himself, and in doing that, in implementing that plan for himself, he ended up
destroyed.
destroying the
Exactly.
community, because it was
Exactly.
never about the community in the first
Exactly.
place. And I have to
Exactly.
disagree with you in terms of people. I mean, respectfully disagree. I hear what you're saying, but I don't think a lot of people necessarily wanted to leave the post or leave the position that he appointed them to. Because if they did really want to leave, they'd leave. I
That's
don't think
true.
that any one of them people that was in position wanted to do anything in terms of developing the
Collect a
Virgin
paycheck?
Islands. Exactly.
That's it.
Developing the Virgin Islands and making it a better place. You have a man that run from 2002. First of all, he run as a Republican or independent or whatever he run as initially. And then he turned around and run again as a Democrat. And the Democratic Party wholeheartedly embraced his brother and pushed him forward.
Correct.
And then again, 4 years after, he was re-elected. So what does that say? What about that say about the people? What about that say about us as a people, about the Democratic Party? We sit down and let this man do what he absolutely want to do?
What does he say?
For real? Seriously? And we don't do nothing, say nothing, or
What
praise?
what does it say about the leadership? And I'm gonna say that
The leadership of the Democratic Party?
the leadership within the Virgin Islands, the leadership of the Democratic Party,
Weak.
the leadership of the unions within the Virgin Islands, the leadership of the different non-profit and all these other groups that's and NGOs, we may call them non-governmental organizations, but intersect the government. A lot of these people who are out there, they eventually bought in to this administration, not for what it could do. I think not for its
for what
mission
they
and not
could
its
do for
vision,
us,
but
for
for
what
what
they
it can
could
do
do
for
for
them
them.
individually.
Yes,
but
And that's where we have to look at it.
That's the
Because
problem right there. It's a selfish move.
correct, but if let me comment on human services. I work at human services, and in the 3 years I've worked at human services, our services to those persons who are most in need have retreated.
Disappeared.
And those are the things we talk about. If the governor had a plan, we would not. When you talk about recession, you don't try to remove the services that these people
You
are in dire
increase.
need of.
You increase on
Because we have increased crisis. Some of the crisis that people are facing was in direct result of this administration and the policies that they promulgated down to the people. So I think, and that's what we're talking about with this administration. And I don't want to spend too much time with this administration because their time is coming to an end come January 5th
Thank
at
you,
12
Jesus.
o'clock.
Thank you, Jesus.
And honestly,
11:59:59.
yes, and I welcome, and I'm gonna say, I don't believe Kenneth Matt nor Asbert Potter is God, but you know what they offer us?
Hope.
And hope, a new day, and to at least to try new things in the Virgin Island and to bring new people to the table. At least that.
You know
But one
that
thing, I'm
allowance?
going to take a quick break and we'll come back. I want you to talk a little bit more about that hope issue because as we were going over the weekend, I've been seeing a lot of that, and I think it would be very important that we talk about that and that we clear up and make sure everybody understands what happens at noon on January 5th as we go forward. So we'll be back in a moment. and welcome back. Before we left, you were talking about this
Hope.
issue of hope.
Correct.
And, you know, as I went through the whole weekend and saw different people and people congratulating me, people were I could see the hope in their eyes that after being this last 8 years, they're seeing some kind of light that things will get better. And each person said to me, no, I really have hope now that things are going to get better. And my response to them has always been, and it will. But part of keeping that hope is that every person in this community understands that they must roll up their sleeves and work along to
Correct.
it. Governor Mapp is not going to turn this thing around in a year or 2 years, or maybe not even in a term, because it's 8 years we're talking about of a mess. And so the way for us to turn it around is for everybody to buy into the fact that we have to, it's going to get better, number one, and to buy into the fact that we can turn this around, but primarily to buy into the fact that in order to do that, we all have to get in there
Correct.
and work and get it moving.
Let me say this. First of all, like I said the night to y'all, it was waiting to exhale. So we are all exhaling. Number two, it can happen, I feel, within the 4 years, maybe even in the 2, if everybody does buy in. I really believe that. However, we are already seeing that from since the runoff, even from before, but from since the runoff, where you have that core group, that means that no matter what, they're going to create discord and disharmony and distrust, and they want to continue that. These are the little gremlins in the mix, you know. And so long as we can control those gremlins, maybe even, you know, kick them out of the whole island and put them someplace else, we will be good. But so long as you have that group there, then yes, it may take an additional 4 years for us to get to where we're going. But I agree.
Well,
if
think
once
of the,
everybody,
think of the additional 4 years as a lack of a better term, the gravy years.
yes.
Yes.
Meaning the years where things are just flow in abundance for us. You're setting the foundation for the first 4 to get to that other 4.
Right.
And like I said, it's 8 years worth of
Hell.
pure
Hell.
confusion. And you're gonna have to go and do a lot of work. It's not gonna be easy work. We're gonna have a lot of
Plenty
work that we have
psychiatrists
to
need
do.
to come in.
No, but we're going to need to do 2 things. And the Virgin people are going to need to do 2 things. And the roadmap is already there. We cannot mirror the mainland society after President Obama got elected. Remember, he got elected his first term. And then basically his public abandoned it. The work needed to be done. And they said, okay, we got him elected, so let him do it. No, all of us got to do it together. And we must champion his policies. We must also buy in to what some of the policies that is.
Well, you know how you buy in? Part of the buy-in is by being transparent,
Correct.
number one, but by continually keeping the public informed.
keeping a
So
message.
they know this is what we want to
Investigation.
do. We want to do this. What do you think about this? We want to
Right.
move this, and this is why I'm doing this. And when people say, oh, "Okay, I'm involved," okay, I ain't sure about that, but okay,
Correct.
we'll see how it go.
You got to
You
know-
gotta keep them
You gotta
involved
know
in
where
the
you're
process.
buying.
Correct.
You gotta know where you're
Correct.
buying.
And I'm going to tell you, if the administration in the public maybe should use this barrel from Rotary. Rotary has a 4-plank plan. And I think
Four-way test.
4-way
Four-way
test.
test.
And I think if one of it is for the greater good, does it serve a greater purpose? It may adversely affect you individually, but it doesn't really benefit the whole community. And sometimes it may affect a small business or a big corporation, but it may benefit all of us collectively in the long term. And if we can put those tests into play and keep asking ourselves those questions each and every time, I think we will be a healthy community moving forward.
Not even only us, and we shouldn't necessarily focus on us all the time. You should focus on those, and the youth, and the younger ones, and those who coming up, our offspring.
Well, I
That's
think
when
No,
you
but
should
us is
have
all
focus.
of us.
collectively.
But
Us is
right, us is all
collectively.
of us. But you know the funniest thing about it, and think about it. Think about the airplane. The first thing they ask you on the airplane is when before you put on your life vest and the child,
you put
put
it
it on
yourself.
yourself.
True.
So that's what I'm talking about. Yes,
But
and
you
it's going
put
to
it
be
in,
transmitted down.
True,
down.
I agree with that. But you put it in on yourself in order for you to be able to do it for them. For them
Correct.
that are coming up.
That's my
You
analogy.
understand?
That's why I'm
Right.
putting that analogy.
Basically, we're moving from where we were only focusing on the microcosm, meaning the one business that would benefit from this or the one large corporation, and we're taking that out and putting it into the macrocosm to say now the entire community is going to benefit, just as you said. So, for instance, with this ABR deal that, as far as I'm concerned, only serving maybe 3 people, and it's only benefiting, I'm just pulling numbers, and you're gonna stop that count. But the 3 people that it's serving is not benefiting the entire community. The community may feel that that they will be benefiting, but if you really break it down and look at it, this deal is not benefiting the masses. So we're moving out of that culture, which I spoke to before, that there's been a culture of distrust, a culture of hate, a culture of destruction,
And a culture of fear.
and especially a culture of fear that has been created and brought to new levels. I mean, you could write a book on those different types of cultures that were created and fed and bred during this administration. So yes, it's going to take a lot of work to try to break down that culture and try to now bring in a culture of inclusivity rather than exclusivity. A culture of saying, I'm going to help you because it doesn't benefit me alone, it benefits all of us. You understand? And a culture of love. I mean, it sounds corny, right? But basically that's what it is.
I mean,
because
in really corny, but I want to know how did we allow it to get so far?
that's a
The
good
greed of some.
That's
The greed
the
of
point that I'm
some.
trying to make.
And
That was actually a rhetorical
it's not even
question.
so much the public as much as it was the greed of that small group of people who it was okay for all things were going on as long as I was getting
Yeah, as long as I
the green of
The
it,
lion's
the
share
good
of it,
things
right.
of it. Then it didn't matter of all the other people. I mean, when you look at people being displaced, sent home, who have mortgages, children in school, children at home, a wife or a husband that's unemployed, or some people who both work for the government, that
Both of
they
them were
both
unemployed.
lost their jobs,
Right.
and nobody was really concerned about where
Right,
these people were going to go.
and then fixing so they couldn't even collect unemployment.
I mean, it's kind of
that's
absolutely
heartless.
crazy.
Yeah, and
And you
that's
see it also in how you have Hovenza and how they speak to the people of the Virgin Islands
To
and the
us.
government,
To
Right.
us.
as if we're nothing.
But even if
And these constant threats of when Qatar gas. Remember, this is not the first time they told us when Qatar gas. Remember, it was before this,
2012.
and then it was again
in
it
their
took-
eyes. In their eyes, we are nothing.
No,
You
but
understand? In their eyes, we are nothing, and they're going to continue to speak to us like that because, again, I keep continuously harping on the fact that we need to develop ourselves. You hear?
But
I
it's-
continuously harping on
I
that.
agree with that,
Develop
but also the
ourselves.
government has allowed it. Those who are
Well, who is
in
the government?
power.
Who's the government?
Yeah, the
leadership.
so-called leaders have allowed it because they are in bed with
A lot-
them.
yeah, a lot of
Because
the
you're
leaders-
you're hearing this, and I mean you're hearing this, and I can't call him governor because I never voted for him and I cannot see him as my governor. But you're seeing this man who is basically saying, yeah, I mean, I agree with Hovenza, y'all need to sign it to cut off the thing, then fine. Because I heard him say, it's a purely business deal. This is a purely business tactic, as if to justify what Hovenza is doing
man,
to
what is-
us
what
with
is-
this threat, because it's basically blackmail.
Where does man grow up?
Not here.
He grew up here?
I don't believe
So how
so.
we allow him to come in here and run it like
That's
how we
how
run
I
it in the
allow
first
him.
place?
That's how I
But
allow
that's
him.
the point that I'm talking about. I'm trying to get to us, to the people, to the audience. I want us to develop ourselves to the point where these kind of things can happen.
Okay,
You understand?
I
When
gonna
we
say
look at
something that gonna get people vexed, right?
Get them vexed.
When you
We need to get vexed and upset.
When you have people like Senator Hansen who feed on the ignorance and the illiteracy of people who do not know better, and sometimes for some of them are unable to know better, that is how you end up in the situation that you see us in now. I gonna get hate mail, me not care, but that is how it is.
And I agree
Because
with you.
You see it even so with her diehard. I call it like it's like a Jim Jones complex.
Mm-hmm.
Look how many people he was able to go convince to drink the Kool-Aid and lay down and die. And that is what we living through right now with people who are just going and drinking the Kool-Aid, this ridiculous blind devotion. You understand? You could tell them, no, the sky is blue. They're going to fight you and tell you it is green with pink
Already.
polka dots, and they will kill you for it.
Yeah.
And even when you are telling them you are wrong, they're going to still say that they are right. It is this crazy blind devotion for people who are, and when I say ignorant, I mean it in the two sense, ignorant and not knowing. Because you can change your state of ignorance, because we are all ignorant of something.
to something until we learn about it.
Exactly.
Educate ourselves.
Exactly.
But you see, but you talk about leadership, yes, and I agree with you. I really got hope in you, brother. No, seriously. I mean, you laughing, but I dead serious. And the only hope I get is because I know you. You understand? And I know where you stand for, and I know where you represent. But that's how it's gonna be. It's gonna start from 1-1. You understand? And when you stand up, they're gonna give me the strength to stand up, and they're gonna give Clint the strength to stand up. But somebody have to take it, and somebody have to run with it. And we're gonna have to stand up and stand up
But
for
you know, one thing I want
righteousness
to
and
caution
look
with that.
beyond yourself.
You know, one thing I want to caution with that, because I'm seeing, especially after and congratulations.
Thank
you know,
you.
we shared our hug and everything. You understand?
Listen, and this
But-
one my hope that
but
I tell you.
one thing I want to caution though is that we tend to look at people such as Emil, people such as Governor-elect Mapp, and we move them from out of the status of being like us, flesh and blood, bone, human, into
we
almost
worship.
yes.
Yeah,
And
and,
we
but you
need
have
to
to
be
guard against that.
careful. Yes,
but,
Of
see,
course
but
we
you
do,
have
of
to.
course.
No, but
you know
there's
what? It's
people
the
who are doing that
The
already,
people
and it's
the
it's
people
scary.
have to guard against that, and you have to be guarded. It's funny you said that. I went to a funeral yesterday, right? So I go to the funeral. I walk into the funeral, and the lady says, "Oh, come. The dignitaries are sitting over here."
Oh, you guys
So
know.
wait. So I turn around to look because I thought
You are the
she wasn't talking to me.
what the dignitary
That's what the
done there?
dignitary did. So I turned around to look because she wasn't talking to me. She said, "Yeah, come," because the lieutenant governor elect was over there, some other people over there sitting down, and I was like, "No." I said, "I can sit right here. Right here is a funny seat for me." So no. I said, "No. This is where I want to sit down, and this is where I want to sit." So I sit there to say, you're right. People will push and elevate you,
Right.
but you have to be able
To
to
remain
remain
humble.
self-grounded. There's no need for me to be over there. I've gone to funerals there forever and never sat
Right.
over there. I can sit in the seat I usually sit in. It was free. It was open. Nobody was sitting
That's
there,
right.
and I went and I
See,
sat there.
it's gonna take-
but you
it's
have
gonna
to
take a
kind of
certain-
be that way. And I don't expect that everybody is gonna be happy with the fact that I'm there. That's number one. You know, the corrupt and evil will not be happy
Of course not.
that I'm there. But there will also be, I'm certain, decisions that will be made that the people may not be happy with. And they may say, well, what? But we thought you were there to do whatever. You know, and I think part of what will happen is the education of it. Of why things are going the way it happens, and the acknowledgement of it. I think when people understand it well, even if they may not agree with it, then they understand it. So you have to almost be that way going into that position. Now, like I said, that position is it's like how can I put it? It's like is nucleus the right word? I don't know if that's the right word, but
Nucleus, yeah,
it's like the
that's a good
pulse of everything that goes out. Now, I do not have the authority to decide what will actually happen, but what I do have is the authority to tell the governor, this is what I think about this, and this is what I think you should do, and here is why I think you should do it. After I've done that, I'm done. Because the decision is not mine. It's only me. My role is only
advise.
to educate you and advise you. This is why you can't do this, or why you can
Right.
do this. This is a law to support you in doing this or not doing this, and then we go from there. But what I will tell you is how I view this job is very different from how prior legal counsels have viewed the job, and things that I intend to do are going to be very new to many people, and I'm sure I'm going to hear, well, this is how we always done it.
Yep.
And my stable response from now, I already put in my head,
Well, now is then.
well, not anymore.
And that's fine.
And you know what I'm saying? We're not doing that
And
anymore.
that's fine.
This is what we're doing now.
Of course.
That's
and
part
so
of changing the culture.
But that's it.
that's part
and
of
that's
it. And so
fine.
you have to start bringing people in. I mean, 'cause part of the process was, how do you be legal counsel? And you have all these departments and agencies who have their own counsel and department agencies. You're the counsel for the government, meaning for the governor. He sets policy on what he wants to do. But you don't know what any of the lawyers in the other departments and agencies doing. You have
what
no
cases
idea.
they're working on.
You have no
and
idea
all.
what they're doing. You have no idea if what they're advising on certain policies and issues are actually in line with
what
what
you
government
want.
house
Yeah,
is saying
yeah.
that you want. I mean, how do you not do that?
Right.
And so you have to like kind of figure out what's going on over here. How do you have departments involved in lawsuits and you don't know what the lawsuits are that they're involved in and how it affects something? How are they requesting legal opinions for things, and your chief counsel for the government, and you have no idea why they're requesting a legal counsel opinion? Because remember, an attorney general's opinion, for all intents and purposes, is kind of like law
Right.
until a court says it's not, or the legislature changes it. a governor, if you are going to protect the governor and the office of the governor, you don't want a department requesting the agent gives an opinion. The agent gives an opinion that's contrary to a policy that the governor wants, and then it comes out, and then you're thinking, well, who asked for that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because or something that didn't need that. That's something that simply you ask a question. Well, this is what I need to know. That could have been done by the governor simply doing a policy change or simply doing an executive order to correct what needs to be done, and have to go through all of the extra stuff. And so a lot of that requires that all of the lawyers that are assigned to departments and agencies must have some kind of relationship with the chief legal counsel. And so that would be something a little bit different from, I think, what they are used to, and it may seem cumbersome to them, but that's what's really happening.
And that's fine. And I would say a little word of advice is to continue to do what you're doing. Continue to develop the spirit. This is a spiritual thing, you know. And you're going to continue to develop that spirit, because that spirit is what going to give you the strength to do that. You understand? To go up and to enforce these things and to see it your way and to implement these plans that you have in place. Not only that, to give you that level of humility that you display to the
you
funeral.
have to have
You're going
it.
to have to develop and empower your spirit and continue to do so, because
Public
it's going to be no easy
servants
thing.
should have humility.
All the
Of
time.
course.
That's what it is. Public servants should have humility. I've never been into that whole. Don't get me wrong, you know. I enjoy not having to worry about parking lot spaces. I enjoy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not that humble.
Yeah, man, no.
Well,
we know that. We know that.
Yeah,
But I'm saying,
I
though.
enjoy those things. You know, those are nice perks. But as a public servant, you have to have that
So you have your own
humility
parking lot?
that you're serving
Of
the
course,
public. You
of
have. You
course.
don't have that, then you're
And
not
the only
really a
way
public
that's gonna come
servant.
about is through
And-
the spirit, brother. Not
and
only that, but though, you have to recognize, we all do. We don't have to recognize that our gifts and our talents are not our own.
Right.
It was given to us, you understand?
Correct.
And we do it for the betterment of the masses. You don't do it for yourself. And that's what's been going on a lot
Yeah,
of times.
I
Whatever
agree.
talents and skills we have, we look at it from a selfish point of view. And that's why this community there, how it there.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I
You're
agree.
blessed with what you're blessed with in order for you to glorify the Father.
Yeah.
That's who you're blessed with. And we have to continuously remember that.
I agree with that.
Hey,
I agree.
he said,
He did. I mean, you're right. I agree with that. You're on fire tonight, man.
Like, well, I'm passionate about my people and about St. Croix. I'm telling you, really, because
About-
and not only that, I see what power we there.
Amen and the praise
yeah,
worship
but
now.
honestly, we have to illustrate that. What we need to be, I do hope this we grow all of this. We're gonna be passionate about the Virgin Islands, and I think that's what the collective message should be going forward. We need to be passionate about our home. Yes, it starts with each individual island which we live on, each individual community in which our home is, but collectively, this is the Virgin Island, and we have to do it as one people. And if we continue to be all over the place, we're gonna have a problem. And I'm gonna say, and one thing we did not even touch on thus far is the White Coast's proposal to dredge again, And I'm saying, come on, are you trying to now compete with Crown Bay? And why aren't we thinking about collectively develop the whole Virgin Islands and bring that maybe think about White Coast saying, wait a minute, why don't we start to see if we can partner with the Virgin Islands Port Authority and do something in St. Croix
I was just
to
gonna say,
expand.
Because they're
And
not even
I said, wait
competing
a
against
minute,
Crown Bay.
why is White Coast just a St. Thomas entity? It's a Virgin Islands entity.
Really?
Is it?
It belongs to the government of the Virgin Islands.
Okay.
The government of the Virgin Islands is St. Thomas.
I-
That's part of the problem.
I understand the realistic view that you put forth, but I know practically we know it belongs to all of them, and it needs to start to reflect like that. Let's start and remember talk about capacity. Why aren't we growing the tourism capacity within St. Croix as well? Why aren't we thinking about developing our harbors over here as well to attract the same amount of tourists? Because sooner or later, St. Thomas is going to be at capacity where it's going to be increasing at a decreasing
As you're
rate.
talking
It's
about,
already
but,
there.
But as you're talking about that, we need to take it a step further because I am a small business owner and I'm right there in Frederickstead. And the one thing that I hear continually from every single passenger that comes off these ships, it doesn't matter the line, is that the ships are telling them, do not spend on St. Croix. There is nothing to do on St. Croix. Save your money for St. Thomas or any other island other than St. Croix. And a lot of them don't even come off. I had a couple came off and they said they were buying their Christmas gifts from each stop. And because before they hit here, the ship told them, there's nothing here on the island except beaches. Don't carry your money onto the island. You'll be wasting your time. And when this couple came into my store, they were literally upset. They were like, oh my God, this is the kind of things that I like because I'm wearing local jewelry,
Yeah, right.
jewelry that's made locally. They're like, this is what I love. And I think personally that we have the best jewelers in the
I
world
agree.
right here on St. Croix. You understand?
That's what they're looking for, something
and,
different.
and that's exactly what
And we can offer that.
exactly.
we damn
And
sure
what,
do. We
what
just
did I
don't, we
do?
don't market ourselves as such. That's
No,
why.
we do. The individual businesses do.
I
but-
talk about tourism.
True. And that is the issue there. Because what did I do at the end? I not only gave them my information, but I gave them the information of all the different jewelers that, of course, that I was wearing. And, of course, of the other different jewelers here, you know. And I implored them, please, make sure that when you come back to St. Croix, it's not on a boat, but that you actually come on a plane where
Yeah.
you can
See
take
the
the
celebrity
time.
time.
Exactly.
People, and they like, listen, now them people love that and they're going to look for that.
And they do
I've
come
been in
back.
Florida the other day.
But before you
and
tell
I
that
was,
story, let's take a quick break and we'll come right back. And welcome back to VI Voices. Before we left, you were talking about going to Florida and something happening.
oh, yes, that's right. That's,
That, oh, Jesus. What? Go ahead, okay.
I was talking about, what was that about? Tourism. When I was in Florida the other day, and I was speaking to an individual, he found out I was from the Virgin Islands, and we had a conversation. He started to ask me about the Virgin Islands, and he talking about St. Thomas's and St. Thomas, and I was like, whoa, I'm a Christian, I'm from St. Croix. He didn't know anything about St. Croix. He didn't hear anything about St. Croix, so I went ahead and I started to explain and give him a glimpse into St. Croix and the cultural aspect and the roots aspect and how St. Croix is and how, you know, and telling him it's slightly different. St. Thomas is a lot more commercialized
Right,
and whatnot, and it's more like in a festive
Metropolitan.
atmosphere, like a metro. Right. And he was like, oh no, I would rather put St. Croix. I would totally like to go to St. Croix.
As many people do.
My point is,
And
if
when
we
they
would
do.
market it as such, right, or if tourism, like you were talking about, if the tourism department would capitalize on that, we are not St. Thomas, you
Right.
understand? Our background, our history is not like St. Thomas. We are different, and there's nothing wrong with
But
that.
you still have tourism and other people who still wish to create a carbon copy of St. Thomas or even the other islands. Because one thing, I'm not that extensive a traveler, and I've traveled to a few of the different Caribbean islands. But one thing I have to say, the difference between St. Croix with the rest of them, even in architecture and feel, because when you look at St. Thomas is like if you go to Jamaica, if you go to St. Kitts, if you go to Barbados.
Dominica.
Right. You see the same kind of structure, the same kind of flow of everything. It's the same. The only difference is the language. St. Croix now is a whole, totally different entity unto itself.
The
And
history.
it's like an enigma. They don't know how to market it because they did have something where they said Solace, Report of Solace. And from what I understand, that was summarily rejected by the St. Croix entities because they said it wasn't doing anything for them.
Let me say this, and you may not, there may be some apprehension from the panel. I remember Wayne James, when Wayne James was, right before he got to the legislature, and he made a very keen observation. St. Croix, we complain about it may not have everything happening every weekend, but at least one weekend a month,
There is
we are
something.
celebrating something in St. Croix or throughout the Virgin Islands. Number two, my next thing that I know the pilot may look at me in thing, there was one person who sat here that I said, I believe this administration should give him some consideration for some opportunity within tourism. Because I think, yes, I said Colin Hodge. No, because if you
Yeah,
think
business-
about
a
it,
businessman.
because Colin, I think, can work in tourism and help the commissioner craft the kind of product we need to have for the Virgin Islands, but also to be mindful of St. Croix.
And I have
think
to
he
disagree
can.
because I see where his plan is to have a copy of what is in St. Thomas. Because when I asked, and I believe it was him, what is the market? Who are we marketing to? Everybody. You can't market to everybody.
No,
There
but-
is no
but hold
way
on,
that you can
but
market
hold
to
on. No, no, no,
everybody.
but
And that is
actually,
what he's trying to
technically-
do. So you
But
want
if you
to
bring
get
him-
Colin-
you want champagne price
The two
with
IO,
beer taste.
listen,
No,
the
but
two IO
Colin-
have a point, Clint has a point, and you too. You're absolutely correct. But if you bring him on board with this administration right here that we just spoke about earlier,
Colin is a doer. He appears
Not,
to be
not
a
only
doer.
he's a doer, but if you show him your vision,
He
you
go-
know,
he go
and
buy
don't
into the
let him
vision.
run amok or run astray with his
Well,
own
if that's the
plan.
case, then
Because,
But
he,
think
because
about
at
it,
the end of the
that's the
day, he
case.
is, I agree, he's a good businessman and he know how to market. I agree with that. Watch how he do with the Taser St. Croix. But I'm saying, with this
He was
current
given
administration,
direction.
if this administration has a plan where they want to take it, then you bring him on board with that. Show him, like you said, so he could buy into it. And if you see him running or going like contrary to, then you reel him in or you
But-
let him go, whichever the case. But as far as being a businessman, I agree with Clint.
But can I say this, Yoki? The funniest thing about it is, St. Croix has something for every traveler you think about.
I don't disagree.
But-
But even when you're marketing, you still have to decide, even at certain points, who your target market
But you
is. We have yet to define or to decide who our target market is.
Co-
Who are we going for? Are we going for those who, the Vegas travelers who come in, or even to go back further, the cruise ships one, who are not going to be honest, cheap like nobody business.
Understand.
They looking to come into your store and barter down from $5 to free.
But you
That
see-
is how they come.
You
So is that
say-
the kind
you
of
say-
is that the kind of travelers that we want, or do we want the ones that when they come, they're not only landed travelers, but they come in with some money, even if they're just housewives and they
But-
save up for years for this trip to come and spend.
But understandably, Yoki, do we want travelers, and can we appeal to all travelers? St. Croix has appeal to all. Yes, we do need to carve out our niche as
we
a
do
destination.
have an appeal to all.
Yes, we do have an appeal.
Already.
Yes,
But the thing-
and we need to make sure we grow that capacity, that when those travelers come, we can sustain them here, and they can spend their money here, and they can go back and talk about the wonderful experience they had.
But you know
in
what?
St.
It's going to be
Croix.
an impossibility because of our status. Number one, since we have to fly
You're into my-
every
you're into
Jesus
my
Christ
territory?
thing. Yes, since we have to fly everything into here.
I
it's
remember
a
when we got like
physical-
4 minutes left before he started attacking. But go ahead.
It's a physical impossibility to
Start me
be
over.
I know.
that to everybody. So we cannot be to the traveler who is looking for a budget because it costs so much for us, because we have to bring in food. Even if we grow it here, it still costs money. So we
Well, no,
can't-
but
No,
see,
look,
what,
we
what,
can.
I think what you craft,
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
what you craft then is you develop and build some relationship with carriers so that they can offer packages, or with tourism, that they can offer packages to people so that they know when they come here, this is what they're paying for their hotel, their airfare, or whatever, and really all they're coming with, like a cruise ship mentality, where you've prepaid already, and all you have to go walk with on the cruise is your money to go spend.
Correct.
Something like that, I think maybe you can craft, and it'll flow with your idea of what you want to bring people here to do.
Correct. Like for instance, a backpacker. Can we appeal to a backpacker here on a budget? Yes, we can. If we develop partnerships with Ridge to Reef, the farm, or the place Mount Victory Farm, Mount Victory Camp,
Camp Mount Victory.
you can craft something to match them. So you can have a destination within a destination, but it's just up to those people who are supposed to be developing our tourism product in concert with you as a small business owner, with people like 2+2 and all of those other people. It's up to them to sit with them and say, how do we do this? What?
It's called a buy-in.
Yes, and they're not doing that.
Buy them
But,
in.
but right quickly before we go out, what we're gonna say is the high rollers. I don't think of the high rollers 24/7. So the high rollers will always look for something different as well. When you talk about the Vegas, people are those with money. And additionally, I think that we should again develop the people, let the people learn themselves, learn the place, and then develop or market ourselves. And those who want to come because they see that we develop and we're marketing this. It don't matter what your background is or what you're dealing with or what you're looking for. But when you see that and it's something that you're interested in, then you're gonna go.
And
So I think that we need to develop from within.
And all of this starts with some of the stuff that we talk about. Food at fair,
Yeah, all of that.
St. Croix Festival. That's a big thing
Festival,
that
man.
In Carnival,
Carnival.
Carnival,
Festival.
but
I'm not changing mine.
but the thing about it is, if it starts right there, if tourism starts to say, wait, I am a partner with festival, and not let the festival, the St. Croix Carnival Committee run amok, then I think we could slowly start to craft our product where we can get travelers that don't just want to come for Act Fair, but want to come for festival and Act Fair. Why do we just want them one time a
what
year?
happened to July 3rd? Nobody talking about
But with that,
emancipation.
but all of that too. But again, do you know what it starts with? It starts with us having a plan. How are we? What kind of
Plan, man.
image
It
do
start
we?
with us, the people.
Yeah. What kind of image do we want to project to the world? When they come here, what kind of experience do they want? What do we want them to know about? We just want to know about brew pub. Do we want them to know about Divi, Carambola? No. We want them to know about the other things. We want them to go take a drive to the rainforest. go
And that's
hiking.
where when we all roll up our sleeves
That's right.
and we participate, that's how
Every-
we're
Yes,
yeah,
correct.
point.
Every
We-
last
well,
one.
And that's where we need to be careful of the types of resorts that are coming in, because you have some of these resorts that are inclusive, and not like how DV is like up there with them. When I say inclusive, mean that the only time you set foot out at a resort is when you're catching the plane to go home.
We don't need that, but if
But you have a very
But-
vocal group
No, but
that
they-
is pushing for that kind of a resort to be here.
But-
They don't realize how destructive that can be to even the overall tourism product.
But
But
they
I-
pushing, we don't push.
No, but
we
I hope-
pushing nothing for us.
no,
for
we
our
don't.
own-
But
casino
when we do,
connect-
we're labeled troublemakers.
Them they
and we don't
organize
like
the-
progress.
So they gonna,
But
I
let me
mean,
say this.
people gonna say what they want all the time, and people gonna be people.
But
you have to
GRS
also organize,
and Carambola
strategize, and bring
pushing-
forth the program.
GRS and Carambola pushing for a casino. And I'm hoping the casino commission put some stipulation. Yeah, you guys want a casino, no problem. Build some more rooms, do X, Y, and Z. I don't give a hoot if GRS owns it.
Well,
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yes,
I don't
bite
know.
yes.
I don't know.
Yes, that we do need to. Yes, we truly don't want you to get into
I
the hot water, sir.
don't think, personally, I don't think a casino would do well
No,
in
but
Carambola.
GRS is pushing for it.
I don't think,
They
I hear
have
what
an
you're saying.
investment.
I hear what you're saying, but I don't think, I think what it would do, it would actually bring down the level of the property.
But then they put
Casino
stipulations.
doing up there now.
No.
What this casino doing?
Yeah,
When
but
they're
I mean,
not-
look,
so-
I hear what you're saying, but look at how would
Who
you-
there in that casino? Who's spending money in there?
we hear my point though. DV compared to Carambola, DV is like a 3-star, Carambola is like a 4 or 5 star. You bring the casino, then Carambola and DV gonna be 3-star together.
No, but
That's how- that's how
Vegas
it
have
is.
5-star hotels that have casinos.
Yeah, and you
It's
know
up
what?
to
And
us
I'm
to
sure that
craft
them
that.
casinos have minimum bet tables of like 5,000 plus.
Hey,
We could do
then
better
if we
than
put
casino.
those stipulations on Carambola, then we could probably have Carambola starting to organize junkets and bring in passengers to our show and be a part of the tourism product.
we'll see what happens. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. This will be our last show for this year.
Merry
Until
Christmas, Happy
Merry
Kwanzaa.
Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year. Because we won't return until January.
Happy Three Kings.
Sorry, Happy Three Kings.
Yes.
We'll return until January. We're going to go on our winter break.
Happy birthday, Yoki.
Thank you
Yes, and
very
happy
much.
birthday to Yoki. Her birthday is
you.
on the 11th, and so happy birthday to you and God bless.
You know, we Decembers are the best.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Had to put that in.
Right.
We're entitled to our own opinions. But we will return in January as we begin, continuing in our third season, and continue on and continue to have discussions like this and other discussions as we go forward and go forth. All right. And so remember, our voices were heard in November, and we want to continue to have our voices heard, roll up our sleeves, and continue to build and do what we need to do to make this Virgin Islands a prosperous place and return us to the prosperity that we once knew. Good night, everybody.